Let's discuss it. Gavin Newsom bought a $9.1 million home, and that is absolutely expensive, obviously. But considering he only makes about $200,000 or $300,000 a year as a governor, right? But at the same time, he's an heir of family of multi-million dollars with wineries and other things as well. So it kind of makes sense. But I think it's just a matter of the fact that it's just like, more of an issue with him just because he's been a terrible governor, in my opinion. A lot of people know it, and then he's yet out there still buying all these expensive things, lavish things. So this is like a 5,600 square foot home. I'll pull it up here. I'll share the screen. A little bit about the article. Fuck. How do we do this, guys? Deny.
Go to present at the bottom.
Yeah, I know. Your browser was blocked on your screen. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Share screen. Entire screen. Allow. No. One more time.
Do you know the reason for his purchase, Andrew?
No, he just wants to live in a better house.
No, okay. It's just upgrading.
Okay, it won't let me share
it.
So
I think it is important to point out that so he's going to retain his $3.7 million Sacramento residence. This is in Marin County, which is really close to San Francisco on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. So, yeah, and since he's the election in 2026 for California governor, he's not going to be eligible for. It seems like this is, him splitting his time between the two residences in anticipation that he's going to be vacating the office, and who would want to live in Sacramento unless they had to? So that's what this looks like.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Why would he buy now, you think? Like, why wouldn't he wait until he leaves being governor? What's your thoughts?
You pointed out to me that right now may be a good time to buy because the interest rates are pretty high and you can refinance in a year, depending on your agreement. And so it might be a good idea to buy now, and then when the market shifts, when the interest rates finally do go down, then you can come out on top. Plus, he probably has a lot of money to play with in regards to this. I don't know how worried he is about pricing.
I mean, Andrew, what do you think about him just kind of throwing some money at this as an investment perspective, just to have something holding real estate rather than keeping it in something else? Do you think that could be a cause for the purchase?
I think the median price in Marin County is like 1.76, and I think prices have already gone up about 7% in the last year, is from what I read. And it's most likely home prices are going to continue going up. I don't see home prices not going up, and if they do, it'll have a dip, but it probably won't be like, it'll be the super low single-digit numbers. So I think it's smart of him to do it, right? As Chris pointed out, I had said that it's probably a good idea to do it considering mortgage rates may fall. I think they will probably next year sometime. I don't know by how much, but I think they might by a bit, and less competition. So whoever's his real estate professional, Gavin's real estate professional, he knows what he's talking about, and Gavin's listening. But it just is not necessarily something people wanted to see online, that has two homes now, considering, Chris, if you want to talk about how great Gavin has been as a governor, that'd be great. You can swing that up.
Yeah. And so, like I mentioned, he is on his last term in office. In less than 2 years, there's going to be an election that decides who takes over from here in California. There was a recall that happened, and obviously we know what the results of that were. I think if they would have went with a more moderate candidate to go against him, we'll probably see a different result. But there's a lot of folks who aren't satisfied with the legacy of the California governor in regards to transparency. He's made a lot of promises. His entire tenure, he's pledged that he is going to tackle the homeless problem. Back in April, there were reports from the California Auditing Agency that they couldn't track $24 billion. And really what they couldn't track is the effectiveness of the money. They couldn't track specifically, this is how much we spent on this, and then this is how effective it's been. And so a lot of folks might point to, hey, there's $24 billion. You guys haven't been on a track. You're over here buying another multi-million-dollar mansion. The homeless problem is just getting worse and worse. I don't know if those two things are necessarily related. He did enter into, he did come into the governor's office with millions and millions of dollars. From what I could pull up, although it's very difficult to really know what someone's worth if they don't want you to know about it, it looks like he's at least doubled from 20 to 40 million net worth since he's been in office, making $200,000 a year as a governor. But most of his money comes from real estate and his business investments. I think he's pulling in about $5 million a year right now from his businesses that continue to operate. Some of them have been turned over to other people in his family, namely his winery has gone over to his sister. That was a big topic for corruption when it was discovered. What was the Silicon Valley bank that got bailed out?
SVB, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Silicon Valley Bank.
SVB.
Yeah.
He went to the White House and advocated for a bailout for them. And there were a lot of folks, from regular independent journalists all the way to like the local NBC affiliates who are pointing out to the fact that it's illegal for you in California to use your office to advocate for something that you'll personally receive some sort of financial kickback in. And his argument to that was, hey, I'm not running my business any longer. But that business in particular that would have been affected was his vineyard that was owned by his sister. So obviously that's kind of a silly argument that would only really work if there wasn't an actual means to hold him accountable. I mean, obviously that wouldn't fly in a jury for most people. So a lot of people can point to this waste and lack of transparency, and they can feel a little bitter about someone spending millions of dollars on a mansion, which is understandable. But I really don't think the mansion purchase, in my opinion, is really where the focus should be. It should be in all those other areas where there has been a lack of transparency. And the question is, will Californians vote a different direction in the upcoming election in 2026? Or will they continue to accept this sort of lack of transparency, lack of results that they're seeing right now, and just hope for the best?
Do you think there's many people that think that the part of the 24 billion that is not tracked that he pocketed it in any way?
Well, so the real thing that was tracked, and here I'm going to pull up. I'll put this in the chat if someone can pull it up.
Yeah.
The real thing was, it's not like the money itself disappeared out of thin air. The frustration from the auditors was that it's not being tracked if it's working through any sort of metrics. And who knows, maybe it actually is being tracked, but they didn't want to turn over that information because it's definitely not working.